Are you looking for payroll functionality in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central? Payroll Now by Integrity Data is a fully integrated, embedded, complete, and trusted US payroll app for Dynamics 365 Business Central. Our Dynamics 365 payroll app includes complete payroll processing, employee self-service, HR onboarding, ACA compliance and reporting, federal and state tax filing, and more. As a trusted company with over 2 decades of providing payroll software and services to the Microsoft Dynamics product family, Integrity Data is pleased to offer you a convenient and complete solution for payroll in Business Central. Visit our website today to find a complete list of features and to request time with one of our experts.
Please welcome our next speaker, Krzysztof Bialowas, a Business Central team leader. Today, he will be presenting his session From Zero to AppSource. Please stick around after Krzysztof's session for a live Q&A.
Hi guys, I would like to welcome you on DynamicsCon 2021 and I'm Krzysztof Bialowas and I will talk about From Zero to AppSource. So first thing which I would like to say is big thank you for a lot of votes which I got for this session. Remember that you have a chat on the page. So we can gather the question there and I will try to answer everything. And since I'm first time on DynamicsCon, few words about myself. So I'm Microsoft MVP for Business Central and I have over 11 years of experience as a developer and system architect. I also implemented Business Central and NAV across the EMEA region. Now I'm working for the Danish ESV partner and I'm a team leader for a development there. The company is called Dynaway. You can find me on Twitter and also on my blog, so mynavblog.com. So before I will start, a few words what will be in the session, so and why. First of all, the AppSource apps are more and more popular right now. In October 2020, we had around 1,000 apps, and it was a big achievement. Now we have almost 1,300. So as you can see, a few more months later, we have 300 more apps, so it's quite a lot. And the process maybe is not complicated to get to the app to AppSource, but it's not documented so well, I would say. And a lot of people have a problem with that. And this session will not be only technical. In fact, it will be less technical. So sorry, I will not have a lot of demos like others. But I would like to show you the full process and step by step from very beginning what you will need to do to put an app on the AppSource. So, and not only that, but the whole app life cycle. So also the maintenance. So you may say, why AppSource? Why not the processes we had in a lot of years in NAV? First of all, installation of the extension is much simpler if we using the AppSource. That's one thing. For me, a big benefit is that I need to maintain only one version of the app, so it's quite different than we had a lot of versions previously. You can control who is installing your extension, so that's also nice functionality. And you are more visible to partners and your customers. And in fact, which brings us to the most important point, you will get more customers for your applications. And trust me, there's a lot of customers with just going and install the apps. Why I wanted to tell you about this? It's because I have some experience already about this, and I failed a few times as well. So I failed my personal project, not from the technical things, which I will try to explain later. And I also passed marketing and technical validation at the first time. But for example, at one point I failed when I was upgrading the app. Also had a story that we failed marketing validation because of one small issue. At the end, everything was okay, and we passed 3 validations, and we have 3 apps already on AppSource. And I also should mention now that what I will be showing is something which for a year and a half we were doing our road to go to AppSource, and I will also try to show you on the real example. So every time when I'm talking, what we did is in fact our road to AppSource, what I needed to do, or colleagues of mine. So I learn on mistakes. I hope you will be able to learn on my mistakes, not on your mistakes. So how the process starts and how Microsoft is telling about the process is just in 6 steps. So first, become a partner, then register as a publisher, get objects, object range and license, get access to preview builds, develop the app, and publish app on AppSource. Quite easy steps, but I just try to write my steps because I think that's not enough to start and to do. However, I will try to go through all the steps which are really needed. So first thing, before we will develop anything, we need to become partner. So some paperwork needs to be done, and that's all what we need to start the development. So that's the first step. So what needs to be done? As I said, you need to be a partner. Your company needs to have Microsoft Partner Network ID. But most important things are that you need to have access to the Partner Source Business Central, where you can get the license. And for that, you need to contact Regional Operation Center. Then access to the Partner Portal. And that gives you 3 things, in fact. One is commercial market, which you can submit the apps and offers. And the second is Microsoft Collaborate, and you need to join this program, which is here, which gives you the access to the preview builds and all version which will be in the future, which you will see later. That is quite important. The process is not so complicated. I went it as my private company. And it is possible to do everything without printing documents. And one very important thing to do all those stuff is that you need to be domain administrator. So that was the company which need to do, but you as a app owner, what you need to do, first you need to request the object range. And the first one which you see here is rather for the old apps which we used on-prem. Probably you know it. The second one from 70 million is recommended for the new publishers, but both of them can be on cloud and on-prem use. So you don't need to have 2 different object ranges if you want to sell your app on-prem and in cloud. To get it, you just need to download the Excel form and mail it to the Regional Operations Center. What you will get is 1,000 objects, and you can use those objects in multiple apps. It means that you can create even 100 apps with this object range if it's enough for you. So the next thing which you need to do, and that's also very it's needed and mandatory, is request for the prefix. And prefix are, as I said, mandatory when you're doing the development. And why we need it? It's allowed to not have conflicts between the apps. So you just need to register it. And now the rule is that you can use it. You can register one prefix for the company. So, for example, mine MNB, which is my NAV blog. And I can use those three letters, but I can use it as MNB, A, NNB, B if I need it for more apps. So that was the first step which need to be done. And this slide is showing why I failed my let's say putting up on AppSource for my private company, is because its development of the app is really a team effort, right? So from one side we have a development team or DevOps team together with the documentation and QA, which develops app, develop automated tests, prepare the build pipelines, do the online documentation and translation if needed. That's one thing which needs to be done. And as a developer, I can say that's the easiest point. The second is that we need to prepare the offer, and we need to have videos, screenshots, and prepare how we will do onboarding and so on. And that's the marketing validation. I will also explain it later. But that's another part which need to be done. And also very important one, which is when submitting the app, you need to have a lot of paperwork or documents like license agreement or privacy policy, or what will be the support model, or something which is monetization and licensing, so how we will sell the app. And then we have a roadmap. So our application is living. We need to know what we will do in the future for that. So those are three, maybe not legs, but important teams which need to work to develop the AppSource app. And let's go to the step 2, which is still before development, is how we will earn money from our app, right? And I think that's the most important question, because we need to know what customers will pay and how our app will be used and monetized. And problem which we didn't have before when we were not in the AppSource and cloud situation and environments was that we just sell the license and we collect money every year for an app. Now it's more complicated, I would say, because you have three options on when you are submitting app to AppSource. One is that you can give your app for free. There are free apps there, so you can use them. The second one is the free trial. So you have some period to use it, and then you need to pay for it. And the third one, which I would say is the worst option for AppSource, because it's contact me and it's manual option. Why I think it's the worst? Because you don't have all the automated process. However, that's the easiest way, because you can do everything manually here. So how to get money? Microsoft is working to provide monetization, but it's not yet. And to be honest, it was like 2 years ago already said that we will have something. We still don't, but I know that it's something which we will get eventually. The second option is that you can buy external partners add-on. and use their add-on to monetize your app, which has a benefits. I will try to show you later what you can expect from if you will not go this way. The third one, which is most popular at this moment for a lot of partners, is that you can build your own monetization and licensing module inside your app. It has benefits because you control everything, but it has also have some downtimes. So what you need to think when you are want to put your monetization? And there's a lot of question which is need to be answered. I will not give you the answers now, but I just want to give you what you need to think of. So how do you want to license your app? And there's a lot of options, and you will find a lot of options as well on AppSource. So per user of the app, per volume of data. So for example, you have 100 records, and that's your first tier, for example. Or per number of transactions, right? So if someone is posting a document, or if someone is doing some operation, then you just counting it and you just send the bill for that. Or maybe per feature which you have inside, or maybe you want to have just flat price. That will be the easiest way. And that's one thing. The second is how you will control it, because if you have a monetization, there is nothing inside the BC which is stopping users to block if you will not develop such functionality. So you should know when you are checking the license, if someone has the license. So you can do it, you can control it on main features, you can control it on pages, but for example, how to control it on table and page extensions, right? That someone have a field and can use it normally, but if he will not pay, what then? And that's the next thing. What you will do if the customer will stop paying, right? So there is a lot of questions how to handle trial and so on. So this is what you need to answer before you will start development. How we did it in Dynaway, we create a website where someone can register, and then all data is going to Stripe, which is our payment operator. And inside BC, someone just click the action to update the license, and he get information what he has. But in between, we have also an Azure function, which is sending the information about the plan. Step 3, I think the easiest one from all. So we can finally put some code. And there is not so difference to what we were doing for any other app, or what you are doing for your per tenant extensions. And but there are fundamental rules. So one is follow technical validation list. It's changing from time to time. But it has the rules which you should follow, and then you should pass the validation without the problems. The other two are also fundamental. First, you cannot break the standard functionality. That's it's a really bad thing, and you need to really be careful if you are touching the standard functionality there. And the last one, don't break your partners. So any PTE which is using your code cannot be break if you will do some changes in your application. Of course, this one has more important when you are doing upgrade of your app. But if you will upgrade your app and your partners will not know that, then you will have a problem, your partner will have a problem, and the customer will have a problem. So what are the breaking changes? And let's assume you already have an app on your AppSource and you want to upgrade it. So what you cannot do, you cannot remove the fields, you cannot remove the controls and actions. So that's also something which can break an app. You cannot add a parameter to the procedure. And you also cannot change the procedure to local. Also, adding the methods to the interface is not allowed. Microsoft at this moment is not checking if anyone is using, for example, your procedure or using your action, right? So that's why it's not allowed. Maybe in the future, I don't know, we will get such functionality that we will know if we can remove the procedure or we can remove action without any issues at one go. So what you can do to not break your application, instead of removing, you can mark fields and control as obsolete. And if you will do that, then you can remove it in the next version. You don't need to follow what Microsoft is doing. They doing it for one year. It depends on you as a partner when you want to remove it, but you should be sure that you will not break your partners then. If you are adding the interface, that's something which we have from version 16. So I hope I'm doing it correct way. I'm just doing the second interface, which also implements is added to the enum, and then I set the default implementation. I didn't have a problem with that with the validation, so I hope that's a good way. And if you need to add the parameter to your method, you can just overload the procedure, so it should be okay. And I also would like to recommend you to check all those recordings about the development patterns, and it probably will also get more information how to not break and how to handle breaking changes. So I prepare a few tips which can help you with the AppSource development. The one is that you always should use the code scopes, and two of them are for sure mandatory. One is AppSource scope and one is the code scope. And if you will follow the AppSource scope, it's 90%, 95% that you will pass the validation. Code scope is also something quite important. It's showing you all warnings, and I will also follow that. To check if you have all the affixes, so prefixes and suffixes, in the good places and in needed places, you should create a AppSource scope JSON, and then you can put affixes which are for this app, and system will or Visual Studio Code will tell you everything is okay, and you put it in the good place. And if you are doing the upgrade of your extension, then also put the version and put that file with this version to the AL package folder. Then automatically Visual Studio Code and AL language will tell you if you are doing the breaking changes. So if you will remove the, for example, field, it will automatically will not compile. So it's very useful, and I think a lot of people forgot about this. Another one is, as I said, use prefixes and suffixes. And even if you are not thinking to put it to AppSource, always put it, because later will be too late. And very important thing, check the warnings. Microsoft is setting a lot of fields and pages and objects as an obsolete, and they're giving the tag when this will be obsolete. So you can see the example from below. A cross-reference list will be removed, and we have 1 year from version 17 to fix it, right? So now with version 18, everything will be okay, but with version 19, we will need to fix it. One rule which is it's good rule, it's not mandatory, is put controls and actions in the correct place, and that's in the validation checklist, but it's not like hard in stone. So add it first or add it last. And that's because if Microsoft will change any action or will rename it, or in some version which you would like to do, like Italian version or Polish or whatever version you will have, it will be named differently. You will fail the validation. So it's better to put it in the first or last place. Then you should be okay, and it should not break anything if Microsoft will just change the name of the control, which happened from time to time. And two mandatory things which you should do is on the fields on the table, you should put the data classification, and on the fields, application area and tooltip. I know that it's a lot of work to add the tooltips, but you should do that. And application area is something which is mandatory, because otherwise you will not see it on the pages. So that was a step 3, but the same team or someone in the team also need to prepare the online help and user scenarios. So what is the difference? I will try to explain. The first is user scenarios, and this is the file, a text file, PDF or Word, which which is required to submit to AppSource, and it must include most important functionalities, and you need to put as much as screenshots as needed to it, and also you need to describe very detailedly how to set the application, how to go step by step. Microsoft can run this tests, manual tests. Sometimes it does. In my case, I had one situation that they did, and another one which they didn't. But you need to provide it. And if you have a licensing, and and Microsoft needs special license, you also should tell it. Right. So, and also what are the permission? It shouldn't be super role. It should be proper permissions. So that's one thing. But the second one, which is not checked by validation team from technical point, but from the marketing point, is that you need to have online help. And this help should be accessible without any login. And I put asterisks here because in the past I've seen this as a request that it shouldn't be any login. Now I didn't, but I'm pretty much sure that it's still the same. And that's, for example, why at some point we failed the validation. We just put a wrong link. And we had everything, we just put a wrong link, and we failed because of that. So as you can see, small thing, manual mistake can be problematic here as well. And another thing which is also said that is mandatory is that you need to provide the context help URL. So you should put on all related pages also online help. So someone, if click Ctrl F1, will be sent to your help. Step 5, sign the app. So each app which you are providing need to be signed. So your company need to buy a certificate. The prices are quite they are different. So from $80 per year to $300 per year, what I've seen. I don't know how much it costs. I didn't bought it yet for myself, and I'm using one in our company, which we already had. But it's mandatory and it's checked, so you cannot submit the app which is not code signed, and you can use BC container helper function to sign it. Step 6, check if it's work. And I was thinking if I should split those two things, automated tests and build pipelines, but I decided that it should be in one step. So, do you need to submit automated test? And answer is you don't need to do that. But Microsoft is strongly recommended. It's not mandatory, as I said. However, you need to, at this moment, probably in near future not, you need to just also add them to the submission. And Microsoft will not run them, even if you will add them. And the philosophy which they have is that you are responsible for the quality of your extension, and they are responsible for quality of system and base app. So, which leads, do you need automated tests? And I think you need and you should use them. And one thing which was on the previous slide, you are responsible for the quality of your extension, right? And the second is that now system is changing every month. So we have updates, and every half a year we have a big update, right? So it's not possible to do only manual test and be sure that everything is working. That's almost not possible. Of course, it doesn't mean that you don't need to have manual tests. You need, and there's a lot of things which you cannot do with the automated test, but you should have automated tests, because fixing anything which you will find with the automated test is faster, which means also cheaper than fixing if some customer will find it, right? And my personal opinion is also that if you write the automated test, the functionality is better and your code is better, which also brings us that you will have less problems and less fixes. And I said also that we need to have build pipelines. So we need to check if our application is working. So I will just switch for a second to the demo. But how we are doing that? You can in Azure DevOps, we run every day. Every day we run automated tests, and we also check if our app will work for the for next version. So let me switch for a second to our pipelines. So what you can see here is that we are running 5 different pipelines. One which is current with tests and it's run every day. And second one which is next minor and next major, which also check the next minor version and next major version of Business Central. So I'm sure that we will pass the validation and our app will not break. This we are doing once a week. But every time when we run the current US version, in our case, we also run validate app. So if I will go to my pipeline, as you can see, I also can see the warnings if I have. And I said that we will not pass the validation, the pipeline will fail if we will not pass all the tests. So what we are doing in the pipeline is we creating a container, we publish everything, and we signing also the app. And in the validation, we just run the validation from Freddy, so from Microsoft, and we are just checking if it will pass, and it's installing the previous app and publishing the apps. So this is how the validation works. And you can learn more on Freddy's blog. You can also check the scripts which I prepared. But if you don't want to have a lot of common with this and anyway have a really nice DevOps flow and pipelines, just check the paid option as well. I think it's really, it can be also very useful for you. So step 7, marketing validation. So again, Microsoft provides us the checklist. So you need to follow, and if you will check it, it's longer than a technical validation. So few things which you see here before you will submit the app. You need to have an offer name, and it must be the same name as an app. If you will have different, you will fail the app. You will fail your submission. You need to provide the offer description, and you need to follow Microsoft naming convention there. And also you need to specify on which countries you will this app belongs. Without it, you also can fail the validation. Support link, which is different than help link, is how your customers can contact, and that's something which you need to provide at least 2 options. And as you can see, there is a much more. You need to have some screenshots. Video is not mandatory, but I think it's quite important. And you need to specify in which countries your product is available. And Microsoft will validate it for all countries. So if you will fail in one country, you will fail also whole submission. And finally, we're getting to the point when we can submit the app, and you do it in the partner center. And to pass, you need to validate, to pass both validation, marketing and technical. And the marketing is at the first app, is when you submit the app, is more important. And now it's take around 2 days for the first submission and around 1 day or less for the upgrade of your solution. So in the future, Microsoft maybe will ask us also to provide that we run AL validation, which I showed you. So that's the plan. And now when you are upgrading the app, you always need to do it manually from the partner center, but Microsoft will provide us possibility to do it directly from the pipelines. Step 9. Get the customer list. So how we know that someone is using our app? So if you are lucky and you are using one of those three CRMs, then it's native integration. But unfortunately, I'm not. So we are using Azure Table, and there is a really nice description how to use it. So if you will just give me a second, I have a demo here, which I'm using a Power Automate. So I'm sending, Microsoft is putting everything to the Azure table, which we call marketplace leads. And every 3 minutes, we are checking if everything is okay. If we have a new customer, then we just posting in our CRM new customer if it's needed. So you can get first name, last name, company, email, country, and phone. So that's something which you can get from Microsoft. And we also sending an email that we get new customer, and trust me, that's the most welcome email and making smile on all faces who got this email. So and post also on the Teams channel. So this is how you can get your customer leads. So every time when someone is installing your app, you can get it to the Azure table, for example. And step 10, which is telemetry. So how do we know if if someone is using our app still, and how is everything okay? And I must say it's great functionality, telemetry. So you can add your application inside key to app.json, and you can use it for all your apps. And you can track the whole life cycle of the extension. So install, uninstall, upgrades, and so on. Also, we can track how long the SQL statements are running, if they are long running. You also check if there are any outgoing and incoming HTTP requests, and if someone generates the report. In the future, probably we will also see what pages were open. And you can create your own telemetry. So you can add information when someone is posting the document, and when, for example, how many records they have in the system. So I have just last slide for you to remember those things which I said. So submission of the app is only a beginning. You need to remember that the app will live and how you will maintain the app. Always check if you will pass the validation. That's the very important rule. And follow Microsoft checklists. That's also, if you will follow, there is no way that you will you will fail. And remember about automated tests, even if they are not mandatory. You can use telemetry if you would like to learn more about your customer. And before starting, think how you will earn from your app. And that's all you need to know about submitting app on AppSource. I'm here and will be very glad to answer all your questions. Thanks a lot for listening this part. So if you have any questions, just put it in the chat if you already didn't do that. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Krzysztof, thanks. That was a great presentation. You created a lot of activity. There's more people talking about everything going on, and it's great. There's a lot of people answering questions as they got asked. That's good.
Thanks a lot, and I hope you all enjoy the session. So, yeah, I've seen also some questions, so maybe we can just take
I'll
them.
do, there are a few questions that were already answered, but since the chat gets lost in the YouTube, I'm going to re-ask them just to make sure they get into the video, yeah? So, the first question was, can a single person become a partner? I don't think you need to be married, so I think they mean a person as opposed to a company.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, yes, it is possible. For testing purposes, I did that for myself. Yeah, I'm a partner, and you just need to sign the papers electronically, and it's like taking maybe a day or two. Unfortunately, from the Business Central side, I mean that, for example, to get the license and so on, it's taking more time because some processes are manual. Like you need to just send email to Business Central team. But basically, you can do everything and you can be a partner. You just need to have a company, right? So if you have your own company, you can be a partner.
Okay, so you have your company. I see Steve Endo commented, and he said he had to provide his DNS details to Microsoft within 60 days. And I assume Steve meant this company to prove it's a company, I guess, matching the website.
Yes.
So you do need
it was something like that. Yes, I didn't need to send the DNSs, but I just need to say that okay, this website is mine, right? So I needed to just change something from the website side, for example, that they will approve it.
Okay, Jeremy added that he's got his development access today. So it looks like it's all working, and you don't need to be a massive corporation. You can be a small individual, one-owner company. So great. Now, one of the topics that I think wasn't really a question, it was more of a discussion of what to do if the customer stops paying. And there were things like encrypt the code, turn the data to read-only. There was a lot of discussions on application, the application area. What's your thing on that?
Yeah, that's tricky question, but basically at some point we just decided that we just block the functionality, right? So I would recommend that, but the data is customer data, so I think it's also good that if someone was paying for some long time, right, and was using it, so he should or she should have the access to the data. So I'm maybe not against, but I will not hide the functionality, right, or hide the data or hide anything, right? And especially, I think it's quite hard to control everything. That's maybe what I also will say. For example, we don't control everything, because if you will control everything, it's just crazy, right? So, for example, I would recommend that like setup. You can do the setup, right? But without the data, it's nothing, right? So we have one table which is data, right? And this one is protected. No one can import or add anything. But if he will do the setup, fine for me, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So another question was, how long does it take from the publishing validation process on average?
Now it's much faster, I must say. At the beginning, it was a little nightmare because they were doing a lot of manual testing. So, and also we needed to provide license. I needed to provide license for them. So it was more time. Also, marketing validation was quite longer. Now it's take like 1 day maximum. But you need to remember also that if you will say that you are for 10 countries or 12 countries, the Microsoft will also check this against all those countries. And now the rule is that they will run the manual test only if the connection tests are failing, right? So it's less work from their side.
Yeah, okay.
But more on our.
So Christian had a very interesting, and same person, Christian, another question. It's interesting. Can I make a chart of accounts available in the AppSource? And how do I license this so a user is not allowed to use the chart of accounts after 14 days? And is this compliant with Microsoft AppSource policy? And I'm reading between the lines. I think it's saying not code, but it's basically intellectual property that is very easy to copy and share. Any opinion on that?
That's really nice question.
It is.
Yeah, I just thinking how it can be done rather with importing the configuration packages. So some function which will import the configuration package, but can you block it? I don't think so. It's rather, especially the chart of accounts. I would never try it. Right?
Okay. So we got another question here. Will you recommend the use of Microsoft Business Central standards and conventions like labeling the identified code instead of ID? And if so, how can we learn these standards? So in other words, getting back to the old Navision naming conventions. And I'm guessing by ID, I guess this is a GP developer, because I know the GP developers do not like NO dot and code. Yeah,
I know. And I have this philosophy that your extension should be invisible, like not visible, right? When you're using the Business Central, you shouldn't know what you are using. It should be exactly the same. We can argue on that. If it's good that it's NO instead of number, right? But this is how Business Central looks like, right? So I think we should follow the standards. The same example even from today, number of series is hidden if you have if you don't have it manual and you don't have a relation. Also, you should developing this. You should hide it, right? Small things, but try to do your extension as it really fitting in Business Central, right? Not like, wow, we are different. right? So I prefer this approach instead of like.
Right. Okay. So the next question from Jeremy is, what is the timing in release cycles? So where you have to push your new version for the next release, do you have a major updates, or you have to meet? Is there a minimum criteria?
No, there is no minimum criteria. You can in fact publish it whenever you want. As I mentioned on session, in future we will also be able to update it directly from the pipelines. What I follow is 4 times a year releases, right? And if we have some not bugs, but something which we need to fix, then we just are ready in one day to just release a fix. Right, but basically, also one thing which I think someone I think Tim helped me last time and said it, that if Microsoft is upgrading the version like from say 17 to 18, all apps are also upgraded automatically. Otherwise, partners need to say to customers, and customer need to upgrade it manually, right? So what I will aim is that release will be few days before release from Microsoft, right? So probably 1st of April, 1st of October. From October, we will do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the core of the questions. The rest of it's quite a lot of discussions and a lot of different things. Anyone else have any more questions? No, we've still got 5 minutes left. So,
yeah, so maybe, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I want to know is about telemetry. What kind of data is an ISV can get from telemetry?
In fact, quite a lot of data by standard. So you can get like if someone uninstall the app. So if everything is okay. Now we also see how long reports were generated and if they were generated. If there were any IP calls, external and out. You know what I mean, and so that's what we can have. I know that Kenny from Microsoft also said that we will be able to see which pages user were using, but that's not yet released. I don't know why it's not. And
ISVs will see that.
Yes, only ISV pages, right? So that would be really great. And also remember that you can do a custom telemetry. So what Microsoft is doing, in fact, and which I think is good, is they collecting the data, how many documents you were posting, how many records you have in the database, right? So you can also see, if you will do that, how customers using your application. Right. And great. Also you can just put in the places where you think that do we need to invest time and money to do this functionality and extend it, right? You can just put a breakpoint or a telemetry point, let's say, and then you can just say, no one is using it, so why we spend half a year to doing it much better.
Okay, I have 2 more questions here. We asked the question before about how long it takes to get certified, but how much time did you spend publishing your app to AppSource? From the time the code was finished, it tested, and now you're getting it to get it onto AppSource. How much time did that take, the whole process?
The whole process, can you define the whole process with you said that when development was done, right?
The question was how much time was spent publishing your app. So I'm guessing from the time you had your finished product and you wanted to get it to AppSource. Are we looking at
like 1 hour or something like that. So and 1 hour to submit it, and as I said, first time few days to publish it, and another app it was 1 day.
So it really depends, doesn't it?
Yes, okay. Yes.
Question from Henrik.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you force an upgrade?
Can you repeat? Sorry, I didn't get
Can you force an upgrade of your app? Obviously, BC forces upgrades on the customers, but can you say to a user, right, you must upgrade?
Only by email. You cannot force that.
Right. Okay.
What you can do is when you are submitting the app, you're saying to which version it is. It's the same as you are publishing PTE, right? So is it for next minor, next major, or current, right? But you cannot force anyone to upgrade. Mm-hmm. They will be in half a year, right?
Right.
Maximum.
Okay. So can telemetry include contact info so we can mail the customers automatically if we detect issues and errors? That's a bit steep, by the way.
No, but in theory you could do that, but also think about GDPR. So it's something which I don't know if you should it from that perspective, right? At some point there was also no, in custom telemetry, there was no Active Directory tenant ID. Now they added it, but for all the, you have a tenant ID, and I think you have a company name, but I'm not quite sure.
All right, so that was a question thing. If something happens and you do have to take a product off AppSource, what happens for the customer?
Sorry, I'm just reading. Okay, product of. You cannot put. I think you cannot remove the app from AppSource, right? There's a quite hard process, I would say, and Microsoft will be for sure involved with that. I think if your app is not upgrading, they are giving like half a year or something like that, that you need to fix something, or 3 months, I don't remember, and then they are following the process. I think I never heard about such situation yet.
But it will happen.
Probably.
Yeah, someone's going to get hit by a bus and they're not supporting the product anymore. Okay, yeah. So from Henrik again, I have a client that had an older version. Okay, so he's sort of answering that question, yeah. So what if we have apps for Dynamics products, GP, BC, and F&O? Does everything in this presentation apply? So is this just the BC, or is this for all Dynamics?
No, it's just for BC. I cannot tell others. I don't know, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah. So we've got 2 minutes left, I think. And I think we're out of questions, but I will just, there's a couple of notes we had to discuss, but I think we're out of time now, and there's no more active questions. So it got quite a few. Oh, here we go. All right, so Jeremy's discussing thing, and Henrik is saying that some apps have disappeared off AppSource. So it definitely happens. There's no doubt about it. So
maybe Henrik will be able to tell us a little more later about this. So I'm looking forward. I haven't heard, so I don't know what is the process. In fact,
they're going to kill us in a few seconds, so I think we need to cut it off here. So thank you, Krzysztof. That was really great. This was the one for me. This was the one because he's put everything into one box. You know, everything that every session has done up to now ends at getting your AppSource product out there. You need development, you need AppSource, you need ALOps, you need performance, you need sales. And this is what it really comes down to, getting your product on AppSource. So a lot of people saying thank you. Thank you, Krzysztof. This was a great presentation. So
thanks,
goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, and hear you later.